Joining us right now is Bishop Michael Duca from the Diocese of Shreveport. Bishop Michael, how are you this morning, sir?
It's fine. Good morning. Boy, that music will really wake you up in the morning.
Well, when Erin's not calling you at 6:25 in the morning, we've got that kind of music. I was at Mass last Saturday, and Monsignor Lacaz read your letter to the diocese regarding this Tuesday's election. First of all, is this something that you do regularly? Is this sort of a tradition with you to weigh in? And if so, why? If not, why this time?
Well, for the past few years, the not just the Catholic Diocese of Shreveport, but the bishops of the United States have put out a document called Faithful Citizenship. I think it arose mainly as some of the bigger moral issues became prominent in our public discussion, and Catholics were becoming confused when they were trying to decide how do we sort through all these different issues. And so there's a larger document called Faithful Citizenship that walks through in a very deliberate way the principles and guidelines and helps for making moral decisions and making your vote count.
So, pardon me, what are those moral issues?
Well, there would be things, for example, try to decide what are the, let's say, important moral issues. I mean, basically what I said in the letter is what I mean. That is this: that when you come up with a moral decision, you have to look at, first of all, there's some non-negotiables, you might say. There are some issues that you can never vote for. These are things that are fundamentally, intentionally evil in themselves. I mean, obviously, we must always stand for and against the direct and intentional destruction of innocent human life and abortion. We must always be opposed to any kind of misuse of, for example, cloning and the use of fetuses for research, things like that. We must also stand against any kind of racism, any kind of disrespect for human dignity. These moral issues have to stand first and foremost when we begin to make our discernment.
Okay, when we talk about against human dignity, we have both of these candidates for president who you and I could argue both have said and done some things that degrade human dignity.
And this is particularly the point from the Catholic point of view why the bishops have tried to come up with this document, Faithful Citizenship, is because there is no political party that fully respects or fully reflects the teachings of the Catholic Church, the moral teachings that we believe need to be upheld. You can go to one side and say, okay, obviously this side has been consistently against abortion, okay? But they don't also, there are other issues they represent that, for example, issues against immigrants, that we would want to uphold the rights and dignity of the immigrant here in the country. Okay, you go to the other side, well, they're for, maybe a different and more generous immigration policy, but they also are consistently against life, consistently choose to support any kind of issues that support the right to have an abortion.
In the letter you wrote, did the emails that were circulating from John Podesta and the Hillary Clinton camp about Catholics play a role in your letter to your parishioners? No,
actually, I decided to write the letter before that came out, mainly because everyone is fundamentally confused. I liken this to when my parents were sick and before they died. We would come to a decision where we had to make some changes. Their health was declining, and we would say to ourselves as a family, we've got to make a decision. None of the decisions are good. We don't like any of the decisions we have to make, but we have to make a decision. And that's why I think the guidance here is to help people in this particular election. There's two things I wanted to do. Number one was to give them some guide to how they might make a decision in this difficult time. Secondly is to encourage them not vote if they're having trouble with, for example, the presidential election. That was causing them some problem because there are so many other elections and other issues on the ballot that they have to be in there giving their voice to as well. And so I told them, I said, some people have a very clear idea of who their candidate is, and they've made that choice. Others may try to choose a candidate they think will do less harm. And so others just may choose, I can't vote for either, okay? And so it's a very difficult time, I think, for most people who are trying to do the right thing, to make a choice between, for some, well, they believe they have no good choice.
You know, this is a radio show where we'll we will occasionally, Erin and I will occasionally opine, and as a result, there is listener reaction that is not always flattering or supporting. What have your emails been like this week? Has your phone been ringing off the hook? What kind of feedback do you get from the folks in the diocese?
The ones I've been getting so far are the people, well, I'll put it in general sense. Everyone who's complained to me has wanted me to be more specific about what kind of choice they should make. And for each person, they want me to have a different outcome.
I was just going to say, not necessarily that you're going to tell me, but have you made up your mind?
Obviously, I'm pretty sure I'm going to vote for yes.
When you say you know who you're going to vote for, are you going to do it like a lot of people are, by holding your nose, and it's a lesser of two evils for you, like it is for a lot of Americans?
I think, yeah, I think so. I think it's not. Like I told you before, there's not a good choice. There's no choice that reflects fully my beliefs and the kind of vision I have for America.